What if I told you that Marvel's Fantastic Four could actually be comprised of Spider-Man and Wolverine? Welcome to the channel, everybody. Chaos here, and today we are going to break down how Marvel, how Disney, Kevin Feige could throw the biggest curveball at us that we've ever seen in the MCU. It's not likely, but it's possible. Make sure you guys drop a like. Make sure you stick around for the entire video because we're going to be discussing everything about Fantastic Four, the casting, and who could actually end up comprising the team. Now, they're coming. They're coming to the MCU after a long wait. I mean, generated by an ownership debacle between Disney and Fox. Despite being iconic to the Marvel brand, the Fantastic Four have been absent from the MCU and instead largely destroyed on the big screen by the now infamous Fant Four Stick from 2015. Now, the Four have appeared a handful of times, but after the MCU started, they were never going to be able to compete without a little help from their friends. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness gave us our first taste of the iconic team with a brief appearance from Mr. Fantastic, although he was brutally killed off in just a few minutes after introducing himself. I'm still not over that scene. I'm really not. But, I mean, it was crazy. It was a bit depressing, but we're going to move on. Since then, a number of rumors have floated around regarding the casting in the new movie. Just a few days ago, we heard whispers that Adam Driver could actually be playing Doctor Doom, although I don't think I really believe that one. And there have seemingly been a million conflicting reports over whether or not John Krasinski would return to play Reed Richards again. My money, man, I don't know. Yeah, maybe? I don't know. He needs to. He's the perfect Mr. Fantastic. Fan casting nailed it. I mean, I've even heard that Jason Segel is in the running for The Thing, which I personally think it would be cool. I know a lot of people aren't about it, but with Secret Wars on the horizon, anything's possible. But while everyone has been busy trying to figure out the cast of the MCU's Fantastic Four, I'm actually more focused and concerned on the story. Now, the movie is currently set to open in February of 2025. It's going to sit right between Deadpool 3 and Avengers 5 on the release schedule. That is a slate. That is a triple threat of movies that's just massive. It's safe to assume the movie will skip any hefty backstory since we've already seen that on the big screen twice now. But this is the Fantastic Four. You don't really have to spell out their backstories to us. Just let us see them on the big screen in a fun and entertaining way and give us an idea of how they culminated to get where they're going. We don't need 4 individual origin story movies at all. Spider-Man Homecoming skipped over Peter's MCU backstory, and it did not hurt the movie or the franchise or the trilogy at all. In fact, I would argue that it actually helped the movie because it allowed us to get right into the meat of the story. Now, with the Fantastic Four movie releasing a few months before Kang Dynasty, I think it's extremely unlikely that we get an origin story. Instead, I'm expecting little hints to be dropped in the movies and shows and leading up to Fantastic Four, so that way when the movie drops, we get right into the good stuff. Now, there may be a few flashbacks to fill in the gaps that we may not know for certain, or maybe address any changes made to source material, but if Marvel Studios wants to prove that a good Fantastic Four movie is indeed possible, which it is, I think they have to skip the origin story. That being said, the lack of an origin story in those 2 hours to 3 hours will free up a ton of screen time for what the Fantastic Four is, what they're best at, helping other Marvel characters. So in case you aren't a reader of the Fantastic Four comics, they constantly crossed over with other characters. Spider-Man, various members of the Avengers, so many. But there's one arc that a lot of people forget about, and that is when a group of other Marvel characters actually teamed up to become the new Fantastic Four. This was after the original team was presumed dead. It was recently pointed out by a writer over at Giant Freaking Robot that this arc could actually be what the Fantastic Four movie is building towards, and it's interesting. So if you're looking for a way to introduce the Fantastic Four to the MCU while also hyping up the insanity of Secret Wars, because if you haven't read that line, it is going to be insane, this would be cool. In late 1990 to early 1991, a Skrull disguises themselves as Sue Richards and convinces the world that the Fantastic Four have been killed. And that leads to Spider-Man, Grey Hulk, Ghost Rider, and Wolverine all coming together to become the new Fantastic Four, and they try to hunt down the original group's killer. Now, in reality, it was all a trick, and the original four are still alive, but I want you to come with me on this little brainstorm. Stick with me. This arc could very easily be altered into the MCU's latest hero versus hero face-off. As you guys know, the Skrulls are going to be a major part of the overall MCU. They already are. The upcoming Secret Invasion show is going to focus entirely on the Skrull infiltrating different aspects of Earth life, which will presumably get them into major places of power and attempt to kind of usurp all existing governments and heroes. We all know this is leading to Kang's attempted conquering of the universe, which will happen in Avengers 5 and possibly 6, but a lot of crazy stuff is going to happen between then and now. We haven't really heard from the Skrulls since Spider-Man Far From Home back in 2019, but with Secret Invasion around the corner, it's likely the Skrull are going to move, they're going to amp up their presence very quickly. But how does this relate to the Fantastic Four movie? Well, now that the Four have been established in Doctor Strange 2, Marvel needs to make clear they do indeed exist in the main timeline, and they're just as powerful and formidable as we would expect them to be. I'm expecting the Four to appear in a few movies or shows before their standalone movie. There's no way they all debut on the big screen just a few months before Kang Dynasty. That would not be smart. So, what if the Four appeared in Secret Wars? Maybe Armor Wars, Ironheart, and they established, not Secret Wars, Secret Invasion, and they established themselves as major players in the MCU, all while the Skrull are secretly infiltrating all aspects of Earth. Then, the plot of the Fantastic Four movie could be the Skrull tricking four established MCU heroes into trying to take out the real Fantastic Four because they think they're imposters. Maybe Spider-Man, maybe Wolverine, perhaps someone like Daredevil or She-Hulk. Could you imagine the tickets that Marvel would sell to a Fantastic Four movie that had them facing Spider-Man and Wolverine, and then just a few months later, the fallout of the conflict contributes to the plot of Avengers 5 and 6? Oh, man. When the heroes are all at each other's throats, there's nobody there to stop Kang. Now, keep in mind, this is a big if and a big theory. It's wishful thinking on behalf of yours truly, too, but with the Fantastic Four being who they are, the MCU story going in its current direction, I think the new Fantastic Four story arc from the comics could be a great foundation for the movie. Like I said before, I don't expect the Fantastic Four movie to be the origin story, and obviously it's going to involve Doctor Doom, but I also don't think Marvel Studios is going to put out the same old Fantastic Four versus Doctor Doom movie that we've already seen on the big screen twice, especially not with Avengers 5 just a few months away from the movie's release. If they want to blow us away, I think it would be cool if they introduced the Four to the MCU relatively soon, build them up throughout the other movies and shows while the Skrull are slowly but surely infiltrating the established universe. Then, for the Fantastic Four's big screen MCU debut, they have to face off with established heroes confused by the manipulation and paving the way for Kang to swoop in and capitalize. There it is. Remember how Civil War set up Thanos' dominance in Infinity War? I have a gut feeling the Fantastic Four movie could do the same thing for the Kang Dynasty. And if it involves a showdown with Spidey and Wolverine and maybe even Daredevil or She-Hulk, I would buy tickets right now. Now, let me be clear, I'm not saying that the permanent Fantastic Four in the MCU should be that new Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, anything. That's too convoluted. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying to kick off with a bang into what Kang is actually going to do, it would be really cool if they used that arc to kind of create that face-off. I would lose it. I would. Let me know what you guys think. Give me your best guesses as to what is going to happen or how we're going to get the Fantastic Four introduced, and I'll see you soon.